Welcome to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41.
The tastiest food show on the Most FM.
It is quite interesting that you said that sometimes people are limited with imagination. I believe that some people were too outrageous. I've seen a show on the TV, and it was about cakes, and someone very, very fancy and someone very, very famous ordered a cake in the shape of themselves. So it was a portrait, it was a sculpture of a cake, and they showed the delicate process of creating this, how they created base, make sure that it wouldn't collapse, many layers of fondant. But then it was delivered, it was accepted really well. It was the party, and they had to decide what part they're cutting off. And they said, we never thought that it's going to be a problem. Are we cutting a hand first, or ear, or maybe part of the, like, you know, and everyone was so terrified to eat this cake, and when it was Hello. Welcome to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41, the tastiest food show on the Most FM. We love to talk about food, garden, hospitality, producers of all the above, and of course music, because we are the radio show. We are recording our show live on our Facebook group page. Look for Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. Join in if you like to be behind the scenes. Also, we record it on Twitter and YouTube. We are Paulina Williams and Warwick Foy, local foodies and the Most FM broadcasters. Our videographers today are Ollie Foy and Nathan Griffith. And before starting the show, I actually would like to do something unusual. I would like to give Warwick a gift. It's not because I want to shut him up for the beginning of the show. I just want to see excitement on his face, and I hope our videographers can capture that.
You know, it's not my birthday till Monday.
Well, I don't know whether you'll be able to hold it till Monday, or maybe we'll just start celebrating from now on.
Gucci.
Oh yes, Gucci, totally suitable.
Okay.
And our guests today are Joanne from Fondant Shed and her Fondant Shed student Denise. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Awesome. It's nice to have you here. How about we listen to some music first? It's Louis Armstrong with his cheesy song Cheesecake. Come on, Warwick, open it.
Open it?
Yes. Why do you think I did it on air? It's a tension-grabbing thing.
Because I don't have my birthday on Facebook. Is it not to do with my birthday?
I have my informants.
Gucci bag.
Just in case you'll become I don't know, Father Christmas and you need a red bag.
Gucci what? Gucci that.
My signature style is glasses, so
Is this the real thing?
welcome.
Should have brought my dollar sign bling.
Because you can still put some songs about, you know, just rapper songs.
This is very cool.
Okay, try the one. So how does it look? Can all our followers please tell us that it's suitable, because otherwise, what's the point to give them so expensive glasses?
Thank you very much.
Birthday!
Thank
Happy
you.
forthcoming birthday!
I reckon happy birthday.
So when you talk, please talk into the microphone. If you are way too far away, normally it's 25 centimeters, I'll show you the TV. A bit closer.
You know, I feel sad about my birthday because it's my 52nd birthday on Monday. And when I turned 50, we went to the States for 2 weeks or just under. That was the last time that we were overseas. Came back thinking, go to Malaysia this year. But,
Oh, okay. Many more travels are waiting for you, so don't worry.
love
Oh, I was 52 again. I can handle it.
Yeah, me too.
I always say we don't have a caravan, we don't have a boat, we don't have any of that. We've got a normal house. We've always been.
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. We are Olina Williams work for in his new cooking classes.
I
And
can't see, that's why I faded.
this is a skill. And our guest today, Joanne from Fondant Shed, and her best student, Denise. Right? Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Well, Joanne said that you were one of the first students, your supporter, your follower, so must be the best. Right, so Fondant Shed is a very sweet business. You're making decorations for cakes, right?
Correct.
So, and it is less than a year old, but there are already raving reviews about what you're doing.
Correct.
So, how did it start?
Well, it was COVID hit, obviously, and prior to COVID, I'd had a guts full of working for somebody else, but I'm not somebody that can do nothing. So when it was almost time to go back to work, when the levels were going down, I said to my husband that I wanted to stop work and do this course. So off I went off to Auckland, did this course 5 days with a one-on-one with a professional. The second day, and she said to me, "Why the hell are you here?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do this." And she goes, "Look," she goes, "you should be teaching." She said, You're amazing." So I went back home to my husband and I said, "Look, I want to quit my job and do this." And he said, "That's fine." And away we went. And 2.5 months later, the Fondant Shed was born. We had a big opening, actually, when the Flower Festival opened. So I opened, got a big flag, put it at the end of my gate and did high teas. And I did little cakes and little cupcakes and old-fashioned sweeties and things with the fondant decorations on them, and I had lots of fondant decorations for people to see. Come down, sat in my garden, had a high tea, and that's how I met Denise. That's right. And away we went. And I started getting cake orders. I got registered with the council to make sure everything was on board. And then we took my first classes for Christmas baubles, where people came and decorated their own Christmas fruitcake baubles. And I sold Christmas cakes and carried on and whatnot. And it just grew and grew and grew. Then they wanted classes about how to make flowers. So Denise was one of my very first willing students. And I was quite amazed at the results of these people. Like, I know how to make them and I can spend all the time in the world. But when you have to lock it into a time frame of teaching somebody else and they have to have amazing results that they're happy with, it was like pressure. But seriously, it's not pressure. There's some amazing talent out there, and it's growing and growing and growing. People come for one class, they leave booking 3, 4, 5 more classes.
Wow, it's just a good sign of the fact that what you're doing is a good thing, right?
Yeah, and Denise came with another person that they've never met before, and now they book classes together.
Oh, wow. Denise, what did attract you in the classes?
I've always been interested in cakes, and specifically the icing of them. And even though I had been actually trying to make the flowers, I still knew that there were some techniques that I was sort of missing. I knew that I wasn't quite getting it how I wanted it to look. And then once we found out about Joanne just round the corner, well, that was the end of that. I thought, right, I'm in. Just teach me these techniques just so that I can do them for family and friends and just get a lot of pleasure out of it. And but the classes are fun.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
Do you know what the most famous example of fondant is?
Tell us.
I didn't even know what fondant was. I googled it, and the most famous example, arguably, is the Cadbury cream egg.
Oh, really?
Mm.
What's the fondant in it?
It's the
chocolate.
fondant and the yolk and the white, but it's not, because I've just been reading here that you'll be using fondant, which is what's the word? Infused with something to make it firmer.
Yeah.
They call it the soft ball stage.
Yeah, the Tylos, yeah.
So you can talk more about that.
I'm sure there is a Latin word which says fondant in a scientific way.
Gelatin and glycerine.
Oh, right, I see. So this is all born out of the love of having good time together, delivering something unique to the family and friends. And kudos to your husband who said, yes, sweetheart, do whatever you want. And I mean, this is so priceless because I have the husband like that. And he's sitting in the studio today. So he is just following my many projects. Some of them failed, some of them succeeded, but he was always there for me. So kudos for good supporting spouses. Yeah, and it is interesting that you started to talk about your classes like about something that just fruited and started on its own. But obviously there was a huge journey before this. First of all, you knew how to make a fondant for a start.
Well, no, I didn't, because years ago, I don't know, most people have probably still got the book. It was the Australian Women's Weekly Kids cake decorating book, and everything was done with lollies and buttercream, and it was just real simple, basic stuff. And all of the people in my street that had little children, we all got this book and we did it. But I actually did it quite well. So they would ring me and say, Joanne, I want page 7, or Joanne, I want the grade, or Joanne, I want the train, whatever. And that's how it started. And then years later, my mother turned 50, and I went and bought a little spray of pansies, which I've actually bought, that I've made today. And it cost me an arm and a leg to buy the spray pansies to put on this cake. And I'm thinking, man, I must be able to do that. So, I started going to some classes on the old school. And then I sort of didn't do too much. It was just a very expensive hobby, really. And then the internet came to play. I was in 7th heaven. Not only was I working in marketing and learning to use the internet, because I went from the old school of marketing to the new way of websites and internet and all the rest of it. And I was away. It was like there's nothing you can't learn on the internet. So I am basically internet taught. But the pleasure of creating something that looks real and is fantastic. Even my students, my young minds will come. And it's not that they really want to get into it as in like I am, but it's time for them to do something that's really relaxing. So it's got lots of legs.
Well, what strikes me, your modesty. A lot of people would say self-taught, but you said internet-taught, recognizing our digital age and also the fact that digitalization does a lot of great things to our life. We are able to learn from the big, huge web, and you not only learn from it, you contribute to it, because I follow your socials and I see all these beautiful photographs, happy people with the hands dirty with the so it's really good. But, when I talk about life skills, it's not your business is not based on actually fondant or decorating. You are really savvy with your messaging and communication. So you said that you had a job in marketing. What did you do prior to becoming a business owner?
I've done many, many things, but I've owned my own business. I've worked for franchise companies where I was the marketing promotions manager. I've been events manager for some very large companies. And years ago, before all of that started, I had young children, obviously, and I was part of a really great group that used to raise money for their kindergarten and their school. But we used really creative ideas, like creating a horror house that we hired out to other schools, so that we always got a little bit back for our efforts, and then we cranked it on our day. Pantomimes, where we went around to schools.
Pantomimes.
And we got the mums to do the pantomimes, and we went down to the schools, and we made it affordable. And every school that had us, they were paying 50 cents for every dollar that we made. So it was worthwhile them going, paying for their children to go. So it's always been something that I've had interest in, and my life career has literally taken me from marketing job to marketing job.
I love that, because a lot of people think that small businesses is for earning money. But no, small businesses are for creating connections, for making people happy and delivering something that the world needs. So you said that it started from actually supplying little dragons or little decorations for the cakes. So this is a product, right? But then it turned into a service, which is classes. How did that happen?
Well, like I said, people were asking to take classes. Professional lessons, she said to me, you should have taken. I bit the bullet and made up some bits and pieces, put them online, and my bauble class which we did for 2 weeks prior to Christmas. So it was a little round ball of fruitcake that they decorated to look like a Christmas bauble that you would hang on a tree.
Wow.
They sold out in 24 hours, and I had 4 students per class, and I had it every night and every day of the week for 14 days.
Wow, that's a success. This is the demand, isn't it? Warwick, why weren't you in a class?
I'm looking at those creations and just thinking, I'm just so amazed. I wouldn't even know where to start, to be honest. But my question is there any competition? You don't have to name it, but is there any competition in New Plymouth?
Not that I know of for the classes. There's lots of competition for the making of the cakes.
Right.
And that's really the cream for my business. I won't make a cake. If someone brings a picture to me and says, I want that cake, I'll say, well, you can go to 100 other people in Taranaki and they'll do that. I like to create a celebration cake that's personal to the person. Yes, I love the pictures to get some ideas of what they're thinking of or looking for, but it's always nice to build a cake around that person's life or about their adventures or their skills or their loves or their hobbies, and then that way nobody else is ever going to have a cake like that.
Wow.
And so that's where my cakes are probably a little bit more expensive than others, and I don't have to make as many of them, so I can really put the time into making a real celebration cake.
Wow, and I think that copycating is not really cool in 21st century. We are into customizable objects, into something unique, as you said, so yeah.
So for the listeners, the pink cake, what would be the name or style of that cake?
The one that looks like it's knitted.
Correct. Yeah.
That's it's just really a pansy cake. Now that's actually just a piece of polystyrene.
Oh.
And it's
I love your honesty, Joanne.
So and I do that, and I make these up so that when people come to get a celebration cake, they can see what's possible with fondant.
Right.
I mean, I know there's nothing that is impossible with fondant, but a lot of people have a problem trying to imagine that you can do anything. So I have lots of ideas in my shed, and I've just brought a few of them in today. So that's actually, it looks like the fondant's knitted, and I'll pop a sprig of pansies on the top.
So if that was the real deal, how long would it take to make that?
The cake to cover would probably take 15 minutes. It's been maybe an hour each day.
People are limited with imagination. I believe that some people were. I've seen a show on the TV, and it was about cakes, and someone very, very fancy and someone very, very famous ordered a cake in the shape of themselves. So it was a portrait, it was a sculpture of a cake, and they showed the delicate process of creating this, how they created base, make sure that it wouldn't collapse, many layers of fondant, but then it was delivered, it was accepted really well. It was the party, and they had to decide what part they're cutting off it. And listen, we never thought that it's going to be a problem. I mean, cutting a head first, or ear, or maybe part of the, like, you know, and everyone was so terrified to eat this cake. And when the sculpture was mold, it looked so horrible.
Yeah.
Did anyone say it?
Yeah, so imagination sometimes not a really good thing. You just need to have ideas and maybe discuss it, but that's it. So Warwick was attracted to a pink cake, which is really interesting. There's probably Sacred Heart influence on him. I'm interested about this chocolate cake. What is it?
It's a red velvet cake,
Okay.
and it's got a pre-made butter icing filling. And then there's this product that I found, and I don't know how long it's been around, but it's called a chocolate truffle, and it is amazing. You can use it as a drip, you can use it as a ganache, and you can whip it with things and use it as a filling. So to do the top and the little.
So it's edible.
It's very edible.
Are we going to try it today?
I hope so, because I made it specially.
Well, Warwick is going to regret that he said one day that he has a savory taste. But we have two tasters, Nathan and Ole, who are going to try it soon. And in the meantime, we're going to put some music on while we're trying the cake and taking some photographs of it.
Well, I can tell you something for nothing. that this buttercream that I use, it's pre-made. People that don't like buttercream because it's too sweet, they love it. And the chocolate is to die for it.
Nathan, can you please bring maybe 2 or 3 plates with a knife?
Probably what's the secret is
Yes, totally. I was thinking about the shape of your face. What's going to suit you? And that's not a bit of a square like a police type of glass.
Do you want to hear a real funny story about this?
Go.
I was at the airport one day and it was, my plane was delayed like 3 times delayed. So I went shopping at the airport, I never did that. And they had this big sale at 60% off in the sunglass shop. And it was the good sunglass shop, not the cheap one. So off I went and found this pair of sunglasses and I thought, oh, and they felt good and they looked good and did good. So off I went up to pay for them. She never said the price or anything. I just said, oh, whatever they are, it's going to be fine because it's 60% off. Anyway, I was sitting down later on and I was looking at what I was seeing. My sunglasses cost me $780 and they weren't.
This is the most expensive.
So I went over to the and I said, excuse me, I think I made a mistake. I said, there's no discount off because these are the new ones and these are not on sale. Well, I'd already taken them all out of the wrap. I was wearing them and everything else.
They were so good, right?
So I put on my post that me and Gertzie were the beasties. Oh, it was hilarious.
I have the shape that really suits my face, and it's a Versace shape. So I bought a number of Versace glasses over time for myself, and I was and they're so durable. They go for 10 years. I use them and I use them basically everywhere in the heat, and you can't really. I buy a lot of things online, so.
Like
Well, I've got Versace and they're way cheaper than her cheap.
I just
Yeah.
and whatever they any shop. So. I have a supply in Italy.
It's the only
By the
trouble.
way.
Because you've got a lot of glasses. How many have you got?
About
Okay, so
50.
you have to be more.
Awesome.
And sunglasses.
Thank you, Kiri, for doing this
Okay.
for us.
Thank you, Terry. I do
So
like
I'll let Nathan to cut because it's really good.
Oh my God. No, it's fine.
I think that you have chosen this one.
I can take this
You
away.
can't
You've
take
got
it.
pictures of this. You don't need this again.
Not broke a heel.
No, I knew it was broken.
So it's all fondant. It's not. It's
It's always something to
So
do.
that's,
the panel.
is that a real one?
Yeah, this is fondant.
Well,
All
I'm in the
right.
middle of making a whole show collection, but I just
So it's a
didn't have
piece
the
for you and
finish.
Ollie, and we can share on a small plate with Warwick, just a little taste. Wow, this is pretty amazing. Well, kind of a process of it. Does the camera get how Nathan cuts it?
Trouble anyway.
Well, my husband's a diabetic and he eats it, so you'll be fine.
Yeah. Nathan is an amazing cook too, and he does a lot of things like trying new stuff and experimenting with it. And so for him, it will be really nice to try that as well. Nathan is my business partner in the media business.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Oh my God.
we're back.
There's the best recipe in the
Oh,
world.
welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It's us, Olina Williams, Warwick Foy, and our amazing, creative guest from Fontaine Shared. It's Joanne and best student, Denise. While you guys were listening to The Crowded House chocolate cake, oh no, it was the
Red velvet.
red velvet. It's in your it's in your cake, but we were listening to The Crowded House. And the name of the song was Chocolate Cake. We're actually cutting the cake that we have here, and it's red velvet inside. It's chocolate ganache and chocolate buttercream on top. Yeah, and we are so fascinated because it looks perfect. I mean, all the layers are exactly the same size, and all the just basically everything there.
We've got to sneak a piece of this home for the videographer's mother.
She's going to be jealous. Hey, Sarah. Okay, so the question for me is like the question about who was the first dinosaur or an egg, or chicken or an egg, or something like that.
Okay.
So what is more important? Is it the flavor of the cake, or is it the artistry on the top? What do you think, Joanne?
It really depends on the customer.
Mhm.
But personally for me, I think if the cake's going to look that good and you're going to put that much time into it, it's got to taste amazing. But other people, they want what they want and they really don't care how you go about getting the result. A little while ago, a very dear friend of ours who owns a trucking company here in Taranaki, he turned a big O birthday. So we made his Kenworth truck. So I made the cab out of Rice Krispies so I could get the detail of the Kenworth, and we made his trailer out of the cake. And that Kenworth cab is still sitting in their china cabinet at home 2 years later. So there is ways of getting amazing design and amazing taste, and it's just a matter of working with the customer.
Oh wow! So what is your favorite flavor?
Oh, my favourite flavour would have to be chocolate or red velvet. But yeah, that would probably chocolate all the way.
So do you have a cake at home all the time? Like
No.
like breakfast, okay, shall I have a cake? Well, I have three choices.
But when I first started, people started coming to me for cake. So I did. Oh, actually, the Christmas story is probably the best one. I got asked if I made Christmas cakes for Christmas. Now, I don't even like Christmas cake. I can't stand fruit cake. I don't like fondant. And I thought, why would they ask me to make a Christmas cake? But they did. Long story short, I put it out on my social if I could get some recipes. Got 6 or 7 recipes, made up some cakes, got the car club round boys to try it, see which came out the best, and just won hands down. So I used that for the Christmas cakes and the Christmas baubles. And it's the same with when I'm trying a new recipe. My neighbours love me because they get cake over the fence. or else my parents live at Somerset, so I'll take the samples up there. But no, we don't have cake in our house every day.
Do you know there was Thomas, Duke of Norfolk, who said to Thomas Cromwell, a man cannot have his cake and eat his cake.
Wow.
And that developed following the Jonathan Swift novel Polite Conversation, play into you can't
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. It's a very philosophical topic. We can discuss it, right? You can agree or disagree with it. Could be quite controversial. Divide our audience in 2 pieces.
No, I think it's absolute, isn't it? Saying you can be, you can't. But are we saying you can?
Well, I have. I'm living the dream.
My question to Denise, what is your favorite flavor? And what is your favorite flavor to eat? And what is your favorite flavor to cook? Do you cook cakes? Do you make cakes?
Yeah, I do. My favourite actually is the red velvet.
Wow.
Yeah, it just seems to come out a lot, a nice moist cake.
Oh, awesome.
With cream cheese.
Denise, you have a sweet tooth, right?
I actually don't. I'm more of a savoury person, but I do actually like to have a piece of cake every now and then. But generally, I'm a savoury person.
If you would like to describe people who are coming to Joanne's class, how would you describe them?
Oh, all ages. There's myself and a very good friend who's a little bit older than myself. It's ladies there in their 70s, young girls down to 10 or 12. And I contemplated taking my granddaughter along, and she's only 6. But I thought, to be fair, probably should just give her another year. Just to be fair on Joanne.
Any male customers?
No, not yet. I've got my first one booked in to make his daughter's, I think it's her 3rd or 2nd birthday cake.
Cool.
So he's coming to do the cake decorating class, and we're going to customise it so it can be daisies and butterflies, and he's actually going to decorate the cake for her.
Oh, this is so sweet. I really love when fathers do it for daughters. I mean, something that you don't have skills on, you learn just to please this little soul.
You know the Ukrainian version of you can't have a cake.
Educate us.
On 2 chairs.
That's true. We have this. Yes, yeah. So you're situated in rural Lebanon, which is quite a well-off community. But does it affect your popularity?
Not at all. Some people don't even know where Lebanon is. But I mean, it hasn't. I shouldn't say that because I don't actually know. I mean, I'm so busy now that if it is hindering me, well, long may it remains.
Wow, that's really good, especially in the digital age we're in. It's probably not important because people can consume the picture in a way, or maybe learn something if you put a video on. Did you make any videos? Yet?
Yes, we've done some videos of how Fondant Chef became Fondant Chef. We've done videos on our students and some of their boxes. We've done, I think the last video I did was of a wedding cake that I did, which was quite unusual, and it had lace butterflies on it. So
Wow.
it didn't look like your traditional wedding cake, but it was quite beautiful and quite unique. So yes, we do little videos from time to time.
I would like to ask you some specific questions, like what sort of fondant is the best? Because I try to make fondant at home and I fail. I mean, I try to experiment a lot, and 50% of my experiments go bad and 50% go good, which is quite normal rate, I believe. But do you make your own fondant?
No, I don't. I buy my fondant, but I do make my sugar paste and my pastillage with sugar art. There's quite a few different forms of fondant, and they all have a specific job. Like pastillage sets a lot harder for the likes of the shoes. Then you've got your sugar paste, which rolls a lot thinner for your flowers and your more detailed work. Your fondant is for your cake covering and your little creating characters, but you can use your sugar paste for that. So there's lots of variations of fondant, and then you've got your icings like your royal icing, your butter icing, and they've all got a different job or a different
Role.
Yeah, different role to play in whatever it is that you're making.
Well, it's a lot of things to experiment and combine together, isn't it? So about colors, because I saw a photograph of people with a very black hands when they were making black orchids. I think Janice was on one of the photographs.
Yeah,
I was thinking, is it suit or?
No, we use a gel colour to colour our fondant and our pastes and things like that when we're using it in big ones. But this particular night we actually painted them because we'd never used paint before. So it was something new that the girls hadn't done, and one of the other students had brought a photo along of a black orchid with a pink centre, and we thought, oh, let's give that a go. So we did. And washing their hands, because I mean black in anything, whether it be acrylic or gel or whatever, is horrendous. So we got ourselves into quite a big mess, and that was the girls rubbing all their hands together with the soap before they washed it off and hopefully came off.
So is it suitable for eating? Is it edible?
Correct, yes. Everything that we put on the flowers or the decorations or the cakes and the airbrush is all an edible food colour, yeah.
So just to be more detailed, everything on the flower is edible, right?
Except the wire.
Except the wine. Okay.
Yeah,
The stem.
Yeah,
I'm not going to count down and seeing shelves full of fondant.
correct.
So where do you source it from?
Well, unfortunately, the fondant itself I buy from Brougham because they have all the colours, they're amazing, and they have a lot of the baking ingredients. But up until very recently, I ordered all of mine off Kiwi Cakes in Whangarei because she is just the most amazing supplier. She's helpful. Now she's let me open a wholesale account, and I've now got a store at home. So I don't sell the fondant per se because, like I say, Brougham does it, and I'm happy to buy it from there. But a lot of the tools and the tylos and the things that are hard to get that we can't buy here in Plymouth, I do have a store that's open by arrangement.
What are
What's that?
the two things you said?
Oh, tylos, which is a hardener that you put into your fondant. And the dusting colours, which is what I've coloured all the flowers with. That's very hard to get. I don't think anyone sells it here in Plymouth. So I do hold a range of that, and as customers come through, I will increase the ranges that I hold.
So my question is, it's a bit unusual question. Is there any decor that you would say no to?
Any decor?
Decor, for example, if people say and ask for something really unusual, I don't know. We discussed with some of my friends divorce parties, like what you can potentially do. Yeah, I wouldn't say everything. We were discussing with my friends. But, so you specialize in beautiful flowers and things like that. Is there any decoration that you wouldn't want to create?
Well, to be fair there, I've been asked to do some pretty horrific ones.
We need details.
We had a friend that turned 60 and they wanted it. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it on the radio.
Use later
Children,
words.
shut your ears.
It was, okay, the cake was just a round cake and it was covered in white fondant. Then it had a roll of toilet paper rolled up. And then it had poo all over the toilet paper running down the cake. And the words on the cake were, "Shh, you're old." And I thought that was the most awful cake to ask someone to do, but that's
I
what they
didn't like it very
wanted.
much.
Well, I think it was the chocolate inside.
So you did make it?
Yes, I did
Oh,
make
good
it.
for you.
Yeah, and I went to the party and everybody enjoyed the cake, so that was fun. And I've done some risque bust a year type cakes for a lady that was turning 50 and she was a lady of the night. So I say risque because it wasn't probably as much work involved as it would be for any other bust a year. But it was fun.
So diplomatic.
Yeah, it was fun, and I've done some cupcakes and cakes for a hen's party, and that's all I can say about that. So there is a fun element to being a little bit risque. But if there was something I really wasn't comfortable with, yes, I'd be the first to put my hand up. But so far, so good.
And I believe all humans, there are so many different facets of our nature, and we all want to have fun. We don't all want to be pissy all the time. And sometimes sweet things and creations and art is what you can kind of express yourself, and so it's all good. So I'm about to ask Warwick to put the third piece of music, which is
That's the Drifters with the song "Sweet for My Sweet."
let's listen. Wow, this is so amazing. That's so interesting. Normally our show lasts for 30 minutes, now we're 55 and it's not finished yet. So after we listen to the song, you can say something about the future classes or just any sort of promotion, and then we will wrap up with a message from our sponsor.
We had to mention it because, Tears for Fears? Shout.
Yes.
So the son, Roland Dorsfeld, I'm getting to know him. He is
Fun, yes, I can remember.
but he is.
Yeah.
So how's the cake, boys?
That's nice. Like, I'm thinking to myself, how should a red velvet taste? Like
Well,
cake
red
taste?
velvet should be a chocolate vanilla.
Oh, it's vanilla.
Yeah, chocolate
I-
vanilla. That's the difference between a red
I
velvet and a
didn't
chocolate
let you speak
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful. I can taste the chocolate, of course. There's chocolate icing on the top. So, yeah, it was nice. Rich. I think it should taste rich. And it was rich.
Yeah.
It was fair. But most of all, that stands out for me is the colour of the cake. I mean, vanilla's not red, neither is chocolate. But it's interesting. It's always got that beautiful, sort of luxurious red to it, doesn't it?
That's just cochineal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Instead of putting a teaspoon in like you would anything else,
Yeah.
just get the little one and tip it in. A whole lot.
Hey, do you know what cochineal's made out of? Because you might change your mind about red velvet.
What is
It's
it?
made out of the
Color.
back of some kind of beetle.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's right. It just is.
Oh, but beetles are all the rage now. Don't we have those Wester bars? Or those bug bars?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, we tried one. It was disgusting. What is it? They have this thing down at the art gallery about alternative food sources when we, blow off the planet, it's got no more real food left. And they made these bars out of bugs. But it looked like a music bar.
60% of the world's population eats insects.
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. We had amazing guests today from the Pond and Shed. It was Joanne, the owner, and it was her best student, Denise. So we're about to say bye-bye to them. We just let Joanne say a few words before we wrap up.
Well, thank you for listening. And if you want to follow Fond and Shed to either A, get classes, B, come and attend one of our high teas, or just get a special celebration cake made sometime, just give us a message, or my phone number is also on Fond and Shed Facebook. Thank you.
Awesome. Few words from our sponsor, Area 41 on Brougham Street. Try their weekend's bottomless lunch. Inquire on their website and socials. Bookings are essential. Ask the sommelier about their wine choices too. Thanks for listening to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. Now we are going to take some selfies and post them on Instagram and Facebook. Tune in to 100.4 FM every Saturday at 4 p.m. Remember, there is a live recording of this interview online on Taranaki Foodies with Area 41 group page on Facebook. Meet you next Saturday at 4 p.m. on Airwaves. Bye-bye, my Womenauts. Bye, everyone.
Bye. And I'll just sign off with the next track being my favourite Wanda Jackson from Long Tall Sally. Got more interestingly after that. We have a track by Quarterboy. Now, Quarterboy is the son of Roland Horsfeld.